Welcome into KC Sports tonight. It is September 24th, and we have good news. Xavier Worthy was a full participant at Chiefs practice today for the first time since before his shoulder injury suffered in week 1. Neil, you were at practice today. What did you see out of him?
I didn't. I saw him standing because it was like they call it a 10-10-10 practice, which means we had about 3 or 4 minutes to shoot video. You race out there, you set your tripod up, and you roll. And I'm doing a story on Tyquan Thornton, so I was getting lots of shots of Tyquan in practice. And then I got a couple of shots of Worthy. But when I got shots of him, as you know, because you've videoed out there, he was just standing there. He wasn't doing anything. When I was walking in before we were shooting, you could see that he was running, doing some drills, and he looked great. He's so quick. That has never been affected. I did not see, he might have had a little bit of a brace under his right shoulder.
Yeah, I saw like a black band.
Right.
Yeah.
But it wasn't some huge bulky thing. And so we have not seen him do anything football-wise because we can only shoot the first couple of minutes, and sometimes he'll catch footballs, and sometimes he'll come off the line of scrimmage and cut and catch the ball. He certainly at no time has looked like he was having any upper body problems, like he wasn't walking around like, with one kind of his arm hanging or anything like that. So we have to hope that it's okay. But look, just because he was a full participant does not mean he'll play on Sunday. Andy Reid does not want to jeopardize the entire season by having some horrible separation because his shoulder's not ready. You can bet that he's going to. That's one of the great things about Andy Reid. He ain't going to panic. He's not a first-year coach going, golly, we're off to we got a losing record. We got to get it. He's not like that. He's playing a long game, and he understands you don't win championships in September.
Yeah, and you have to believe that he maybe feels a little bit better about not rushing Xavier Worthy because of Tyquan Thornton, who you just brought up, and his kind of breakout game against the Giants last week.
No, he hadn't breakout game. He had a 38-yard catch against the Chargers. He had the 49-yard touchdown against the Eagles, and then had another big catch for 33 yards against the Giants. And so it really is exciting. He talked today at the podium, and I asked him, I said, how exciting is this? And he just lit up. It is so much fun to be able to go out there and play with my guys and have some fun. And then he talked about how he got down on himself because people attacked him on Twitter. He was a second-round draft pick, the 50th guy taken in the draft by Bill Belichick and the Patriots. And he talked about how it kind of got in his head when he goes, the media was just all over me. The team wasn't playing well, and he was underperforming draft pick. So he got the brunt of a lot of the criticism. And so he talks about that. That's a story you'll be able to see. I guess it's already aired. It was on at 5 o'clock. Hopefully it'll be on again. We're going to do a longer version on our Chiefs game day, our Price Chopper game day next Sunday. So this upcoming Sunday before the game. So if you get a chance, watch it. It's going to be a little longer. It gives him a chance to talk a little bit more about his journey.
Yeah. Before we move on to the Rashee Rice news of the day, I know you had said on the show last week that, Xavier Worthy just, we saw him moving around. We could see him catch some passes, but maybe he just wasn't ready to take hits in football, and that's why he wasn't playing games. Do you think at least him being a full participant means he might be a little bit more on track to do that?
It's a step in the right direction, although the way the NFL coaches are, they will do stuff just to try to get the other team thinking. John Harbaugh and Andy Reid have played each other a bunch of times over the years, and everybody studies the injury report. They study media reports out of the other city. They do everything. This is England versus Germany, World War II type stuff, right? They've done movies about it. They are not cheating, but they're trying to gather any information they can because the defensive coordinator for the Ravens is trying to figure out, is Xavier Worthy going to play? And if he does play, who are the 3 receivers? How are they going to line them up? Are they going to go 4 wideouts more often because they have Xavier Worthy? I think also a guy that's not getting a lot of mention because he's a rookie, Jalen Royals, I think he's got a chance to play. And he's a guy that plays that inside position, that runs all those drags and slants over the middle that Rashee Rice runs. I thought he was a guy that they were looking at based on the way they were using at training camp. He was running all the same stuff that Rashee Rice was running. Yep. So I thought, if and when he gets suspended, This is the guy that might be able to do it. He's a bigger, stronger guy who's got good quickness, and he made a lot of catches at training camp. He did indeed make the team. He did indeed like he was in a position to do it. Then he has the knee problem. He didn't. He was out there today without a sleeve. He's been returning punts this entire last 3 weeks. I think he's ready to play football if they want to use him some.
Yeah, and he wasn't on the inactive list ahead of the Giants game on Sunday, so it seems like it's a good sign that we're going to see him make his debut at home this Sunday at Arrowhead Stadium. And by the way, this Sunday's game is on our air on KCTV5, kicks off at 3:25.
That means it's free.
What?
Free TV.
Free football?
That's why we don't get paid well. They don't charge for us. We don't make any money for them.
Well, another receiver with a little bit of news today, that is Rashee Rice. He is halfway through his 6 games suspension served, which means he can't be practicing, can't be out there for games and whatnot, but he can come back to the practice facility. Patrick Mahomes talked about what it's been like just to kind of have him back around the guys. What did Mahomes have to say today, Neil?
He said that he brings energy, and so did Andy Reid. They both talked about he's a guy that's good to have around. He has a positive outlook, and throughout this whole thing, he's been positive. He's not walking around complaining because he's not in the center of attention or anything else, and so they're happy to have him back. He can participate in meetings in the wide receiver room. He can work out. He cannot work out with his teammates, but he can go out and work out. The reason that's in there is the Players Association says, we don't want you bringing guys back who haven't even been able to work out, or we'll set you up at a local gym or a local high school football field and you can run patterns with one of their. They want them to be able to go out there and get in physical shape so that when they come back, they're less likely to have a physical injury because they're not prepared. But he cannot do team stuff. He can't catch passes from anybody, but he can at least go out there and run, and trainers can work him out. So that part's really good.
Yeah, and I remember back in training camp when Rashee was at the podium one day, someone asked him, if you do get suspended, what's your days going to look like? And he just said, I'm just going to keep training. I'm going to come back in the best shape I can possibly come back in. So you have to imagine that's what he's been up to away from the facility for the last 3 weeks, and now he gets to be at the facility. So some good news coming out of the receiver room today. Chiefs-Ravens, both teams looking to not start the season 1-3, which is kind of crazy when these are two AFC kind of juggernauts every single year that you expect to make deep playoff runs. But they both have had kind of hard starts to their schedule. I mean, the Ravens played Bills week 1, and that was a shootout that ended in a crazy Josh Allen comeback, dominated the Browns, and then just lost in primetime Monday Night Football. What worries you the most about Chiefs-Ravens?
What scares me the most is in the NFL, the more desperate team can oftentimes win. If you're more desperate than the other guys, even if maybe the other team's a little better than you, that gives you a little more of an edge. If you feel like your backs are against the wall, particularly when teams are at home, they can be dangerous. I don't know that we've seen that kind of intensity from this Chiefs team yet, where they played like their hair's on fire and they are not going to be stopped. I think we saw a little bit of that maybe in the second half against the Giants. You saw them kind of feel like, okay, we got kicked around the first half. We're not playing well, particularly on offense. Let's get our act together. And they did look better. They looked more – but I don't know that that's what worries me, because this is a very proud quarterback in Lamar Jackson whose numbers are unbelievable. They're not losing because of him. 9 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions. He's run for 118 yards. He has a touchdown there. He's accounted for 10 touchdowns. This guy makes plays. You can say what you want about what he does in the postseason, but he's a player. You talk to defensive players in the NFL, and they'll tell you, that guy's poison. He kills you. You can't tackle him in the open field. There aren't very many people who are as quick and as strong and as big as he is. There's a reason he puts up unbelievable numbers. It's because he's incredibly talented. Now, what happens in the playoff? I don't know. I don't know what you can say.
It's the playoffs, so it doesn't matter.
But Derrick Henry is going to come in here with something to prove. He's not a fumbler, but he's fumbled 3 times this season, lost 2 of them, and you could argue that both of his fumbles cost him the 2 losses. They led Buffalo they played that first game up there, and the first week of the season, and they led the entire way and blew it late. They blew it. They should have won at Buffalo, and everybody that follows the Chiefs knows how difficult it can be to win in Buffalo. I don't care if it's September or in January. It's hard to win up there. Baltimore had a beat. Derrick Henry fumbles, a couple of guys make plays. They end up blowing the game. They then come home, destroy the Browns, as you should. Even college teams should beat the Browns. But then last week, against a really good Lions team that will punch you right in the mouth, the Lions really kind of dominated the game. The Baltimore only led that game one time, kind of midway through the third quarter. They hung in there, and they came back to score to take a lead, but then Detroit closed it out. Detroit is really good. I'm not sure the Chiefs can play the way Detroit does because I don't think they're as physical on their offensive, defensive lines. But the bottom line is both of these teams, as you put it, Katie, come in with a lot to prove, feeling some pressure, feeling like we got to get going, and with an attitude. And that worries me because I think Baltimore's capable of beating anybody anywhere if they play a really good game.
Yeah, one thing I really noticed about Baltimore in this Monday Night Football game against the Lions, and maybe this is just a nod to how good the Lions defense is, especially with Aiden Hutchinson back in the mix this year, back from injury. The Ravens' offensive line looked terrible. Lamar Jackson was sacked 7 times. I felt like every time I looked up and they were on offense, he was just running for his life, and not because he's Lamar Jackson and he runs, but because he literally had to on a lot of plays that he shouldn't have been. So do you think maybe this becomes kind of a feast day for the Chiefs' defense?
I hope so. That'd be great. And I wanted to ask you something. You went to school in Maryland. I think everybody knows the story. You didn't have the grades to get in at Missouri or Oklahoma where I went, or even the University of Miami where Mark went, which are they're like the Harvards of our region, you know. No, seriously, you went to Maryland, so even though you didn't grow up there and you didn't really root for the Ravens, you lived close enough to kind of hear the narrative. I keep wondering when they're going to go after John Harbaugh, the coach, and say, okay, you won a Super Bowl early, you're consistently good, but you're not winning enough. They fired Andy Reid in Philadelphia. So I wonder when the pressure begins to build on him, on his quarterback, because they're not getting it done during this period.
You know, I think it can maybe be similar to, look at Buffalo. They're kind of in a similar position where they have the same fate in the AFC playoffs every single year, and it's because of the Chiefs. If the Chiefs weren't in the middle of a dynasty, maybe people would feel differently. Maybe if it continues for a few more years, for sure. But I think when you also compare it to, who's the other team in Maryland? It's the Commanders in D.C. It's become such a franchise that no one wants to root for anymore. And I think it's gotten better the last few years.
I think they finally got it turned around. They got rid of the owner.
Yeah. Before the team was sold, it was a tragedy to be a Washington
Would you
football
want to
fan.
work for that moron? You probably shouldn't say moron. I remember I'd say stuff like that on TV, and my wife would say, you shouldn't use the word stupid, or you shouldn't. We tell the kids not to use it. Maybe you shouldn't do that on television. But I think it was, for a while there, really hard to root for that owner and for that franchise.
Yeah, no, fans were not bought in on the team at all. They couldn't fill a stadium to save their lives. So a lot of people kind of would hop on the Baltimore bandwagon because once Lamar Jackson got there,
and he's a good guy.
It's a fun team to root for, and the environment in M&T Bank Stadium is awesome. I was there for the AFC Championship game 2
I
years
was there
ago.
too. I
We
was
were
sitting next to
there.
you.
But it's a team that people have a lot of fun rooting for that hasn't always been, super fun to root for. I think they're enjoying the era that they're in. And like I said, I think if it were a case where there wasn't a team that just couldn't seem to stay out of the Super Bowl, constantly beating them every year, maybe it'd be different.
But they didn't blow the game in Buffalo, but Mark Andrews dropped 2 passes. He dropped a pass, and then he got hit and fumbled on a crossing pattern. They're really, really good tight end. He had a touchdown the other night for Baltimore. So he had 2 uncharacteristic drops, and that kind of cost him the game. But you're right. Either the Bills or the Chiefs have knocked him out. The one year that they were the team to beat, maybe in the entire NFL, and the Titans went in and shocked them. And the Chiefs ended up playing the Tennessee Titans in the AFC Championship game because Baltimore got erased in their first playoff game. They had a first-round bye and then lost at home.
Yeah.
And we were stunned. It was a Saturday night game, and it changed everything. Suddenly, the AFC Championship game would be here if the Chiefs won, and they did win. And the rest is history. The Chiefs got their championship, and so I'm just wondering if late in the year, you'll see some pressure begin to build from the fans and things like that.
I think there already is kind of there definitely is a sense of we have the MVP, great. Like we have a winning record every year, great. We have a really good coach, great. But like, when are we going to get to a Super Bowl? I think that's already kind of there, like it would be with most NFL fans who don't get to experience going to a Super Bowl every year outside of Chiefs Kingdom. Yeah. So I think the sense is already there, but I don't think it's to the point where they're like calling for Harbaugh's head yet. Maybe if they have a bad season. Maybe we see it this year. Who knows?
This is going to be an exciting game. We got it on Channel 5. I cannot wait. You want to talk baseball. Why do you want to talk baseball?
It's official, folks. The Royals are not playing October baseball. They have officially been eliminated from playoff contention. They are out in California for their final 2 series of the year. They've got a game tonight at 8:45 p.m. Central Time, if you're going to stay up and watch that. But, yeah, I mean, I think towards the end of the season, we saw some exciting flashes from the young guys that I think we can be excited about for the future. Park Hill alum Carter Jensen, for one. Jack Caglione, of course. Those are the top 2 prospects that got called up this year.
Well, wait a minute. The pitcher from to me, the pitcher from
and Noah Cameron
from St. Joe.
And Noah Cameron, yes.
He's the story to me.
He was there so early, it's almost like you forget that he's a rookie this year.
Yeah, it was huge. He put up great numbers. He doesn't throw it 102 miles an hour, so nobody nationally cared. That's all they care about. Mm-hmm. But his velocity, it seems like. But he knew how to pitch. He pitched when he was down in the count. He knew how to work the strike zone and spot the ball. It'll be interesting to see him next year.
Yeah.
Is what we saw this summer, was he just in a groove? And can he maintain it over the winter and come back next year in spring training? He will no longer be the guy trying to make the team. Oh, look at that 25-year-old. No, he's a guy that they're going to have with an ink pen put on their lineup card. But the question is, can he replicate what he did? But I agree, Carter Jensen is a really exciting story, and there were some real positive stories. And I believe they have a chance to be significantly better next year, if for no other reason than the fact that the guy that they traded for from Cincinnati, Jonathan India, his career on-base percentage is here. And here, right? We can see it right there. It was there. And this year, it was drop it below where you can see it, okay? He was terrible. By far the worst on-base percentage of his entire career. I believe he goes back to the mean. Even if he just goes back to his average, I think he's going to help this team a great deal. I don't know necessarily that it'll be in the one hole, but I think he is a guy that he's good enough in the field, and he's got a good bat. This was a weird year for him. I expect he will be much better next year. And if for no other reason, I think that Caglione, everybody's excited about him. I have not seen it at the big league level, and until I do, I'll wait. I'm going to wait to go out and buy 100 of his jerseys.
Yeah, I think it'll be really telling these guys that we think are going to be these good hitters. You know, can they get to work on that in this offseason? Because it didn't show this year, but we did see some of those flashes, late. I remember one of their final home games and their final home stand like a week or so ago. I was there, and bottom of the 9th, Carter Jensen.
Free hot dogs. She's there. Katie's. If there's free food in the press box, Katie is there.
Free hot dog, a pretzel with the cheese dip. I'm always there for that.
I always go through the salad bar and eat salad.
Well, you got to get the greens. Got to at least feel good about the fact that you're having the giant pretzel with the cheese, but you also had a salad.
I don't like pretzels.
Oh, I love pretzels.
Real quick, I'm jealous of you. You're going to the KU football game this weekend. KU and K-State are both at home. Missouri's at home, but Missouri's playing UMass. And UMass is 0-3, and they lost to a school called Bryant. I don't even know where Bryant is. I'm not real smart, but I do follow college athletics pretty closely. I never heard of Bryant, and they lost to them 27-20. They lost to Temple, which is bad, 42-10. They lost to Iowa 47-7. I'm not going over there. They were asking me last week, "Oh, are you going to be back next Saturday?" I go, "No, I'm not." We got NASCAR. We got NASCAR in Kansas City. We got K-State and KU are both at home. I'm going to be doing something like that, or I'll be getting ready for the big game of the Ravens. I'm not coming over here to see you guys kill UMass, but you got to be excited.
Yeah.
I mean, KU 3-1 on the season, 1-0 in the league, and they're hosting Cincinnati, which lost to Nebraska 20-17, which was their one loss. They're 2-1. I think Cincinnati's a decent football team, and I think Kansas is good.
I do think Kansas is good. Their win over West Virginia last week, and granted, I didn't think West Virginia was very good, so I knew KU should likely win that game because they were just the better football team. But today, or I should say Monday actually, but I listened to it today. Lance Leipold said that Cincinnati is the best team that they've played so far. And
they are not better than Missouri.
I would like us to keep in mind that KU did play Mizzou. Maybe that was just a little bit of a rivalry game.
Yes.
Yeah.
They hate each other.
Yeah.
That's like, Norm Stewart wouldn't even say the word Kansas unless he won. Then he mentioned it a million times. We hate Kansas.
Yeah.
Do you realize we just beat Kansas? So, no, that's good.
See what you did there, Lance.
Are you going to run that? Is that bike going to be on the news?
I mention it.
All right.
Running a different bite, but I do mention it.
Why would you? What bite was better than that?
Well, it was very short.
Oh.
It was very small.
Okay.
He just kind of said it at the end when he was talking about what Cincinnati is like as a team. They have a mobile quarterback similar to Bo Prabula, and they did a decent
There's
job.
no way he's as good as Bo Prabula.
No,
Prabula is one of the best quarterbacks statistically this entire year.
I mean, similar in the fact that they're both mobile.
Okay.
And KU did a decent job of kind of shutting down his legs when they played Mizzou. So kind of forced him to go through the air. But
meanwhile,
Leipold did say that.
Now in Manhattan, K-State's going to host UCF. UCF, Central Florida, comes in 3-0 on the season, including a 34-9 win over Bill Belichick in North Carolina. People make fun of him. Belichick can coach. North Carolina, I think, was going to end up having a winning record. But UCF, they think they've got a pretty good team this year. They're playing a Kansas State team. You've covered K-State for 3 or 4 years. You understand how much they love their football out there. This has been hard for them. They're 1-3, but Katie, they're only 0-1 in the league. And so I think that people need to understand if Kansas State gets their act together, they could still have a run, because all you got to do is finish in the top 2. To win the league, all you got to do is get in the championship game, and that means you can finish second. So they are not out of anything.
Yeah, and that's kind of the beauty of the new college football playoff layout. You could go 0-3 in your non-conference slate; it doesn't matter. But the Big 12, as we know from last year, in this new revamped Big 12, it's kind of anyone's Big 12 to take. Starting 0-1 is not a death sentence, but this game against UCF, who's coming in 3-0 and seems to be a pretty decent football team this year, worries me a little bit because I don't know where mentally K-State stands right now. Like, are they feeling it? Like, are they kind of psyched out because of the position they're in and losing games that they should not be losing? And I mean, granted, they didn't have the easiest non-conference slate, but those were games they were supposed to win. Do you think maybe the Wildcats are just kind of down on themselves right now?
Well, they can't be up.
No?
But they were really down. I listened to the game on radio Friday night, 2 Fridays ago. K-State's coming in off a bye. 2 Fridays ago, I'm driving from the high school game I covered back to the station, and I was in the car for like 30 minutes, and I listened to Stan and the radio crew, and to hear them, you could just hear how beaten down the offense is for the Cats. Their defense fought, gave them one last chance with a minute and a half to go or something, and K-State can't do anything in the passing game. It's like they got Jace Brown as their only target, it seems like, and they just don't have the weapons. That's the way it made it sound. And Arizona beat them. And the beauty of it was a non-con game. Even though they're in the same league, it doesn't count against the conference schedule. But no, to answer your question, K-State has been down, but they had a week off. And let's take a look at what we're doing. Let's figure out what's going on. We agree they have a pretty good quarterback, and they have an opportunity. They got to get it turned around. It has been painful to watch. The only game I covered, they won. That was the North Dakota game.
You hear that, folks? Neil Jones is your good luck charm.
Well, and it's so they both KU and K-State kick off at 11 a.m. I think they'll both have big crowds.
Yeah,
but
KU is a sellout so far. I know that. But I believe K-State is too.
But you know what? K-State can turn it around, but they only can do it one game at a time, and that means they got to come out and play well. UCF, the team they're playing, is 3-0, but they haven't played a conference game yet. Nobody really knows how good they are. So they have question marks. So this is good. Both of these games, the KU game versus Cincinnati and the K-State game versus UCF, I think are very, very interesting because we really don't know that much about them.
Yeah, I think with K-State, this is going to be, it's the perfect setting because they're supposed to play so well at home. It's 11 a.m. kickoff, like those kind of when the Cats seem to shine, these 11 a.m. kickoffs at home. So you have to imagine, you have to hope that this is kind of where they get back on track. I think all K-State needs is one win, and that's what can kind of just snap them out of it.
I agree with you.
With KU, I think this will be a big test because, I think Mizzou is a really, really, really good football team. So I'm not taking that loss. Like, I'm not judging KU too much for that because, Mizzou's just a really good SEC football team.
I think there's a chance Mizzou, I really believe that they are going to have a chance to be in the playoffs. I really believe that because I think they're going to finish in the top 2 or 3 in the SEC. I really believe that. And we all know the top 3 or 4 teams in the SEC are going to make the playoff in the college football playoff. So it'll be interesting. Mizzou has not beaten a ranked team yet. They haven't. If KU wins again, if KU beats Cincinnati, maybe Kansas is in the poll, and Mizzou can say that's a top 20 win for them.
Yeah,
top 25.
I'm excited to see how KU responds this Saturday because, they dominated West Virginia with a not sellout crowd, might I add.
It was not sold out?
It was not sold out. And
where were the empty seats?
A lot were not like opposite the board.
It was
the video board.
It was the student section?
Student section was pretty full. A
so
lot
it
of them
wasn't
left
the
by
student
halftime
section.
because they were already up by about 20, 30 points at that point. But no, it was across from the video board. So that's where like the
end
K
zone?
is. Yeah.
That's
where a lot of
interesting.
those empty seats were.
Well, that's not good because they got a great facility.
Yeah.
And that was a beautiful day. And West
Yes.
Virginia came in as a team that people were thinking might be pretty good. And I think to spank them the way KU did impressed me quite a bit.
Yeah. So I hope they can carry that momentum over and keep it rolling. Any final thoughts on college football? Week 5 is upon us, Neil.
Well, I think as you said, the Big 12, Texas Tech goes into Utah. A lot of people were believing, okay, Utah might be back. They had a bad year last year, but their pedigree with that head coach and the players they brought in, that program is that they're going to be good. Guess what?
Nope.
Texas Tech went in there and kicked them good. Texas Tech may be a lot better than people think. We know Iowa State's good. And so you have to add Texas Tech to that group. And you know what? Arizona has looked really good at times. So maybe the Wildcats are decent. As you said, in this new Big 12, it takes 2 or 3 weeks to figure out, okay, who's got players back, who's got starters back at quarterback, and everybody thought Oklahoma State might be decent. They were so bad they fired their coach, Mike Gundy.
Yeah.
And so it's really a wide open Big 12 race. I think the SEC, I think, you got Alabama, you got Georgia. I'm not sure how good Texas is. They've got problems on offense. Mm-hmm. I think Oklahoma's defense will give them a chance to win every game they play, but they lost their quarterback for
3 or 4
6 to 8 weeks.
I believe.
They don't know. He had hand surgery on his throwing hand. And I have to be honest with you, their offensive line still does not look good to me. I don't think they're going to be able to move the football against really good defensive fronts. Auburn's got a good defensive front, and Auburn gave them fits. So I'm not sure Oklahoma's completely back. I got question marks about Georgia. So I'm telling you, I don't know that there's anybody good enough that I'd say right now they could beat Missouri. Missouri's got a great defensive front. Their offensive line is good. They have 2 really good running backs, and one of them, Hardy, might be one of the best running backs in all of
He's
football.
good.
He breaks tackle after tackle after tackle. He is really special, and none of us could have predicted that Bo Prabula would be as good as he is throwing the football. But I'm telling you, he got hit really hard. I thought it was helmet to helmet in Saturday night's game, and all I thought was, oh my gosh, if he's hurt and he has to miss any significant period of time, if he's got a concussion problem, because he got hit high. I thought it was a bad hit. They looked at it and they determined that they went high, the defenders did, but they missed him, so they didn't get targeting. But he took a shot, and you could see he was a little bit like, okay, I'm okay, and he got right back up and played. But they are an injury at quarterback away from playing a true freshman who's only seen a little bit of a few snaps. And so they got a chance to make a deep run. They need to keep him healthy.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us on KC Sports Tonight. We'll see you right back here tomorrow at 5:30.